I'm sure it's news to nobody that there was a school shooting in a Parkland, Florida high school a couple of weeks ago. But in response, CNN held this town hall event with a few of the affected students and some senators, and this whole event was designed to be a conversation about how to prevent mass shootings in the future, but in that respect it totally failed, which is why it caught my interest. I think Marco Rubio's experience during the course of it really was reflective of that, and I think he performed admirably throughout in the face of quite a lot of ugliness. But yeah, anyway, his opening statement tells the tale quite well.
Well, in that realm, I want to be honest with you. I think all of us would like to see action, but I want to tell you what we're going to struggle with. We are a nation of people that no longer speak to each other. We are a nation of people who have stopped being friends with people because of who they voted for in the last election. We are a nation of people who have isolated ourselves to only watch channels that tell us that we're right. We're a nation of people that have isolated ourselves politically and to a point where discussions like this have become very difficult. But we are here, and it's important that we are, because tonight people who have different points of view are going to talk about an issue that I think we all believe, and that is that this should never have happened, and it can never happen again. If we want to ensure that it doesn't, then we are going to have to find a way as a nation, to work with people that may not agree with us on certain things, without accusing one another of being evil people.
So everything Rubio said in that opening was right. He actually seems to understand the parameters within which we need to operate to have a good and productive conversation, and why conversations about gun violence have failed spectacularly in recent years. On the other hand, unfortunately everything he just said is going to become somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy. This town hall isn't a bastion of free and open inquiry, it's a witch hunt and an inquisition. Rubio wasn't invited here because people are genuinely interested in his ideas or his opinion. They invited him here to lambast him in public for wrongthink. Nothing positive can possibly come out of such an exchange from one of the sides thinks like this, and we're going to see that play out.
Now, I think what you're asking about is the assault weapons ban.
Yes, sir.
So let me be honest with you about that one. If I believed that that law would have prevented this from happening, I would support it. But I want to explain to you why it would not.
Senator Rubio, my daughter, running down the hallway at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, was shot in the back.
Yes, sir.
With an assault weapon, the weapon of choice.
Yes, sir.
Okay? It is too easy to get. It is a weapon of war. The fact that you can't stand with everybody in this building and say that, I'm sorry.
Sir, I do believe what you're saying is true.
This exchange really contains everything which I was talking about. The man asking the question really isn't interested in what Rubio has to say. He's not really even open to listening to him. I mean, Rubio hasn't even explained his position in its entirety yet, and he's already getting agitated. Also, his response to Rubio stating his sincerely held belief that he did not believe an assault weapons ban would have prevented this shooting is to emotively retell the death of his daughter, and to simply assert that assault weapons are too easy to get. What possible good is this going to do? There's no point of contact here. He's not listening to what Rubio is saying because he's not interested in what he's saying, and he sees Rubio as a bad actor. And there's nothing Rubio could do to convince him otherwise. The response from the crowd really exemplifies this. It's greeted with rapturous applause, and that's because just like the man asking the question, nobody here is interested in conversation. Nobody here is interested in the exchange of ideas. They're here to applaud the victims and to scream against wrongthink. Now, don't get me wrong. There's certainly a time and a place to applaud the courage and the bravery of those who have gone through horrific acts of violence such as this one. But here and now is not the place. This is a setting in which we should be applauding good ideas, not victimhood.
I believe that the idea that a gunman like this could march down the halls of Stoneman Douglas High School and fire off 150 rounds in 6 or 7 minutes, that gun should be banned. There is no reason anybody should own one of those.
And that is a very valid point. But my point is that under the law that you support, there would still be 2,000 guns that were legal that could do the exact same thing.
Well, then let's sit down and figure out what they are so that we can ensure people...
I know, but look, this is an important discussion because now you're seeing what the debate is about the assault weapons ban. And I just ask, Will you ban, are you in favor of banning any gun that can do what the AR-15 can do? Yes or no?
I am in favor, Senator Rubio, if you have a concern about something, let me just answer this question because it's important.
It is. That's the whole debate.
Yeah, and the answer to the question is, do I support banning weapons that fire off 150 rounds in 7 to 8 minutes, weapons that are weapons of war that serve no purpose other than killing the maximum number of people they can? You bet I am.
Okay. That's important to know. And that is a very fair position to hold. So and I just want you to understand that goes well beyond the bill that's before us now.
Well, then sit with me and let's come up with something that you support.
I'd like to let Senator Nelson.
I feel bad for Rubio here, I really do. He's attempting to come at this with facts and a reasonable skeptical eye. Rubio's trying to highlight the fact that it's hard to delineate along lines of caliber, capacity and rate of fire weapons that are currently legal that should be banned, without in fact simply banning all firearms. Personally, I think he's correct, and that this indeed is an effective refutation of any kind of assault weapons ban, once one completely rules out the option of simply banning all firearms. Yet the bald gentleman there is simply appealing to the crowd. He says any weapon that can fire 150 rounds in 7 minutes should be banned. That's practically every firearm in the world. At that rate, you're only firing about 1 round every 3 seconds. A rifle with a bolt action could achieve that. And what, if not killing as many people as efficiently as possible, is the purpose of a firearm? It's as though he and the crowd are totally unaware of what he's saying and just blindly applauding along, and I don't think that would be an inaccurate description. But then again, I don't actually think he believes what he's saying, and he doesn't care. Just like nearly everybody in that venue, he's not interested in separating the good ideas from the bad. He's interested in what will make him and everyone in the room feel good. This whole conversation is a sham. But hold on, it's about to get even worse.
Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm not gonna listen to that. Senator Rubio, it's hard to look at you and not look down the barrel of an AR-15 and not look at Nicholas Cruz, but the point is, you're here.
So this is totally inexcusable. To describe Rubio as a child murderer, which is effectively what he's done there, is totally unacceptable and simply immoral. Going through an unpleasant experience as he has does not give you license to make such accusations without evidence. It may make them more understandable, but it does not make them acceptable.
I need to ask 2 things of you. Number 1, Chris Grady, can you stand up? This is my friend who's going to the military. I need you to tell him that he's going to live to make it to serve our country.
Okay, so what purpose does this serve? What has this got to do with anything? Why is this part of the conversation? What has it got to do with preventing mass shootings? This stunt is so frivolous and is only here so this kid can attempt to demonstrate his own moral virtue and make himself feel good. Simply ridiculous.
And this is about people who are for making a difference to save us and people who are against it and prefer money. So, Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future?
Okay, so let's try and break down what he's saying here, and what exactly he's accusing Rubio of, because again, it's totally ridiculous. This kid is effectively saying that Rubio knows gun control will prevent these shootings, but he's willing to forego the deaths of many at the hands of mass shooters for campaign donations from the NRA. Now that's quite a serious accusation, and one that's levelled with absolutely no evidence, but it just shows the mindset with which he's approaching this conversation. He's already determined Rubio is a bad actor, someone who effectively accepts bribes from people, which I'm sure he sees as no better than child murderers, in order to extend his own interests. And as you would expect from somebody coming at the conversation from such an angle, the rest of it is just absolutely dire.
In the name of 17 people, you cannot ask the NRA to keep their money out of your campaign?
I think in the name of 17 people, I can pledge to you that I will support any law that will prevent a killer like this.
No, but I'm talking
getting
NRA money.
No, because...
matter of fact, I bet we can get people in here to give you exactly as much money as the NRA would have.
But it's not, I understand, and you're right.
Can you stand up and donate to that real quick? Okay, not a lot, but we'll get it. I'll do it.
You're right
we've raised
about
quite
that.
a bit of money so far.
Well, you're right about that. There's money on both sides of every issue in America. I will do what I think is right. And if people want to support my agenda, they're welcome to do so, but they buy into my ideas. I don't buy into theirs.
Okay, so I knew that was going to happen. NRA, please just keep the money out of Rubio, okay? If he wants to run again, you guys
Thank you, Cameron. Appreciate it. Stay with us.
The imputation of poor motives are always a huge obstacle in conversations like these, and this is a chief example. He's simply standing on the bodies of the dead and accusing Rubio of just being obsessed with money and not caring about the dead kids. I mean, if you're going to have a productive conversation, you have to be more charitable than this. If you're going to impute any motive of your opponent, you have to be more generous. Otherwise, there is nothing they will be able to say to make any headway with you. But anyway, there it is. That pretty much wrapped up Rubio's contribution in this town hall. Rather predictably, this event wasn't very productive. Nonetheless, I think Rubio acted admirably in the face of all the ugly methods of argumentation deployed against him. He was principled, stuck to his guns, and wasn't afraid to say what he thought. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how sincere you are. When the other side approaches a conversation as they did here, no such good will come from such a discussion. And I think we saw that play out.